What about, well, I mean, one of my favourites on the album is 10 Words. I think it's a beautiful song. How do you approach a song like that?
Well, that one has an unusual story because I originally wrote it on piano and wasn't really thinking of producing it for public consumption. You know, it was just a private piece of music. But as the years went on, and I guess it just wound up staying in my manuscript pile on my desk. And I kept going through it, and when I reviewed it again while I was going through the other compositions for Super Colossal, it sort of, it touched me in a special way, and I thought maybe there is a way to produce it so that so people can use it for something other than what I was using it for, you know. And that's my job, you know. I make music to lift people, take them somewhere, you know. And so I've learned my lesson many years ago not to hoard music, you know? So my sole purpose is to release it. So I thought, okay, what can I do with this song so that it's together enough, it moves enough for other people to sort of drop their dreams and hopes and wishes onto, you know, as a vehicle. And what I think the key was for me was to develop a sound on a guitar that wasn't very usable in a practical sense, but had turbulence in it that I related to what caused me to write the song, the tragedy of the attacks on 9/11. And so I was working with a small prototype amp that I was working with along with Hartley Peavy. And I started with the simple chords that anybody could play, but the sound of the amp was so distorted and echoed that it really created an entirely different sound.
Right.
And so I started to record several versions of this, and by the time I was finished, I had piano, I had orchestra, I had acoustic guitar, I had 12-string guitars, I had guitars in choruses and flanges. I had various degrees of, complete unusable distorted guitar all the way to just slightly distorted. And I just created this wall of sound, and this sort of like on top of this throbbing piano part. And that got me emotionally to the point where I could play the melody and let all this sort of throbbing take over a lot of the energy that I might have sort of mistakenly put into the melody part.
Yeah, because I think it's a very richly harmonic piece, and it's also a very richly melodic piece, but the melody is very, very pure, very simple, isn't it? Just on the top. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, I felt that the song only worked if it was done that way. And so it meant shedding a lot of, artifacts, a lot of idiosyncrasies, that I could easily put on there, and I thought, no, this can't be here. All that unusual stuff has to be coming from the background. And I wasn't quite sure how that was going to turn out, but luckily when we were mixing the record, Mike Fraser, my engineer, really identified with what I was trying to accomplish with it. And he realized that he had all this stuff to deal with, and he wasn't going to use it all the time, so he would bring out different shades of those rhythms at different times to get the rhythm track to grow, because the rhythm was rather repetitive, the rhythmic side of it. But what was happening with the sonics and the harmonics was very complex. And the more we listened to it, the more that we found that it was very rich, and so we just had to make sure the mix brought out that texture.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound repetitive because it moves, and then by the time it comes to the end, it's just coming down to a close. It's really, I think it's a very beautiful song.
Thank you.